Larry Pruss, and I'm the moderator of Tech Talks. We do this every other week. It's SRM hosted, and it's kind of the intersection between traditional finance and emerging technologies. Super excited today. We've got Mike Duncan from BankJoy to join us, and he's got a solution. Been in the industry for a while now. I'd say a fintech of sorts, and you guys have you're kind of exploring how community-based financial institutions can tap into their strengths by integrating technology that supports their mission and serves to uplift their communities. Mike and I had the benefit of getting together in Nashville recently. We really had a great time with him and Shaw Taylor, his SVP of Marketing Partnerships. So, Mike, we'll go ahead and get started here. We're going to have a conversation. Want to let you talk a little bit about your company and who you are. I was real impressed. I was on your website today, and I was looking at some of your core values, and you and I were talking a little bit of that beforehand. And I always get excited when a company has core values, because that's something strategic resource management does as well. And you've got a nice but short list. I think it's lead today for an exceptional tomorrow. One of my favorite, to be a good human. One of ours, which is around integrity, but yours is honesty, is clarity. Lift each other up and seek joy, which I also really like. And then you're in the business of obviously digital banking, but you've got a pretty wide solution. You serve retail and business banking. You've got online loan and account opening. As you and I had talked previously, you've got a conversational AI. And then you do some statements work and security. You've got a couple of clients that are also clients of strategic resource management, Yumi Credit Union and Directions Credit Union, and great organization. So I'm really excited to hear a little bit more about your solution today, your background, and kind of where your solution fits and why you brought it to market, right? Because you guys have been around, I think, 9 years now. We see you a fair amount in this space, and know a number of clients have your solution. So why don't you start with a little bit about yourself, and then for those on the call, if you can just put yourselves on mute, and then if you want to ask questions, jump into the conversation during, certainly welcome to do that, or you can wait till the end to ask questions, but just ask that everyone go on mute in the interim. So with that, Mike, I'll turn it over to you. Talk a little bit about who you are, how you kind of got where you are, and a little bit about your background and background of BankJoy.
Yeah, Larry, thanks so much for giving me the opportunity. It was great to see you and meet you a couple of days ago here in Nashville. That wasn't planned, just happened, and I really do appreciate the way you opened as well, just by kind of honing in on the values in our website. We're two tech guys who love tech, and we're talking about core values and missions and visions. I love that because that's really the foundation that we build our tech upon, and hopefully folks realize how seriously we take that. We started this company 9 years ago. BankJoy provides it's a full end-to-end digital banking solution for banks, credit unions. We also now serve neobanks as well. We have more than 70 clients across the country. We're backed by some great investors, including Y Combinator, Bessemer Venture Partners, Checkvault, Circle, invested most recently. And then our clients believe in us, and they've also invested as well. We started BankJoy really to solve a problem that I personally was dealing with and encountering in a previous life. When I used to work at a credit union, I worked at a Michigan-based credit union that was looking to grow and double its size. They were at about $500 million in assets and wanted to get to about $1 billion in assets. And that was the big goal when I came in. $1 billion and beyond was the goal. And the strategy mirrored the same strategy that we see at a number of institutions, banks and credit unions, where let's acquire some other institutions and we'll grow our assets that way. Let's also expand our field of membership so we can go after more and more folks. And one of the tasks that I was given was to go, improve our digital experience. And I'm new to the industry, and I'm learning about, the vendors in the space, and I'm getting all these demos, so I begin to realize and put together that this is actually going to be more challenging than I thought, because at the same time, you got neobanks coming to market, we have fintechs coming to market, and for the first time, folks were beginning to realize what a good digital experience could look like in banking. We all knew it was possible because we have other digital experiences, but here we're seeing finance, we're seeing banking being presented in this beautiful way by these new entrants in the market, by these new competitors. And all I really wanted to do was build something that was as comprehensive and beautiful as what I was seeing from the competitors. And I looked at all the vendors and realized that user interface design experience often seemed like it was an afterthought in the space. And I also realized to check all the boxes, all the products I needed and all the features I needed, I'd have to work with a half dozen or more vendors to pull everything together just to get something out the door that was competitive from a feature matrix perspective. And even then, I realized that each of these vendors are building things in silos, and they have their own design standards, they have their own design philosophy, and each product sort of fit together in a Frankenstein-like way. Imagine Frankenstein with one ear looking one way and another ear looking a different way. Nothing really felt like it belonged, right? So we did something drastically different. We ended up building our own stuff at the credit union. We built a mobile banking app, started building online banking before I left, and we were designing an account opening solution, and really built out a whole team, at a $500 million institution to go build, full end-to-end solution set. And when I started talking to other credit unions and banks, I realized they're all having the same problem. They want to be more competitive and provide a better experience. And that's when I decided, let me go start BankJoy so, we can help solve this problem. But more importantly, I believe in community-based FIs, and I wanted to find a way to help them deliver their competitive differentiation, their core value of uplifting communities, deliver that through technology, which is something that we don't see. And so we're in this kind of predicament now. That's what we're trying to solve.
You mentioned UX in UI. I was thinking about that, and just before the call, I happened to look at the App Store, and I was just curious because you and I talked about like the underserved, and particularly even from a demographic standpoint, millennials and Gen Xers or Gen Z, I guess, and a lot of them are attracted to kind of some of the fintechs that are out there, and kind of competitors to traditional banking. And on the App Store, the ones that came up like right top of the list were, I think I had Rocket Money. I think that was a paid one. NerdWallet, Fidelity Investments, which is traditional, right? They're a big company, followed by Robinhood, Chase Mobile, which is interesting because Chase has we mentioned this before, but they've got a tech budget that's $15 billion, right? So they can kind of afford to build some really neat technology. Then it was followed by Credit Karma, Eggcorns, Venmo, Coinbase, PayPal, Zelle. My kid only uses Venmo for everything. So I mean, there's really, from a competitive standpoint, like those are the apps that are popular, and so I think that says something about the population that's out there. And there's certainly some changing demographics that credit unions and community banks are having to deal with. And in fact, I'll share a link. I'll put in the chat here in a second. But there's a really good article, and it was from, let me see if I can find it. It was from Payments, and it was by Karen Webster. It's called "What Gen Z Wants from Their Banks." And the conclusion was what they're looking for are personalized products and services that are easier to consume on their mobile devices, and really important on their mobile devices. They're also 2 to 3 times more likely to switch banking relationships. And they represent, like right now, I guess there's 69 million consumers that are between the age of 12 and 27 that are considered digitally native. And in 5 years, they're going to represent a third of the workforce. And they along with the millennials, are going to be a recipient in the next probably 5 years or 10 years, certainly, of about $70 trillion of wealth transfer. So while today they're a little young and they may not be who credit unions and banks just are naturally going after, right? Because they serve people who already have some assets, already have banking needs. They are going to have banking needs in not too distant future, and we know they're digitally native. So maybe you can talk a little bit about, the problem, I mean, from an economic standpoint, and how you guys are working on solving that solution, because you have a unique offering, and it's one of those things where, like, if you're a community bank or a credit union, you're not going to be able to afford, like building something like a JP Morgan or a Chase can build, right, when they've got $15 billion of tech budget. So you're going to have to get that solution from a vendor. And so maybe you can talk a little bit about, what the problem was and how you guys went about solving it.
Yeah, your exploration there in the App Store reveals something else too, which is there are new FIs and fintechs that have been launched that didn't exist, when a child's parent opened up their community-based FI account, and so there's more options out there now. There's more overlapping competition. We have credit unions and community banks who are looking to grow deposits by expanding filter memberships and by just finding new markets, becoming larger and larger. And you trace back to sort of the beginning of the community FI movement. Community-based FIs, credit unions and community banks, were really focused on these sort of narrow segments. And there'd be a credit union, for instance, that's focused on serving teachers. And over time, I think we're all realizing this trend that these FIs are focused on targeting broader and broader segments. And when you do that, you have more and more overlapping competition. All the apps that you listed in the App Store and new ones that are being brought to market all the time. And fintechs that started out as payment companies like Cash are becoming deposit institutions and attracting large numbers of people. And so, we're facing a potential crisis here where we have, half the country being made up by millennials and Generation Z. We have a wealth transfer, as you mentioned, that's going to happen. And where are they going to put these funds, and where are they going to manage their finances? And with Generation Z, 2030, 30% of them will be in the workforce. Where are they going to bank? And there's a lot of options out there for them now. The key challenge here too is, Americans are in crisis mode at the moment. There is $17.3 trillion of household debt that we've accumulated. And, you look at that number and think, is it going down? No, it's going up. Look at 2022 Q3 to the next year, Q3, 2023 Q3, the number went up 16.6%. That's the trend that we're on right now. And if you look at, you could probably pinpoint fintechs and some big banks that are probably contributing to the problem. And, who's solving it? That's the question. Then you've got 60% of Americans who are living paycheck to paycheck. Even if you're making a couple $100,000 per year, roughly 30% of those guys are living paycheck to paycheck as well. And, we can blame rapid consumerism. We can blame a lack of financial education. But therein lies this opportunity. When you look at the App Store and see all these different ways I can manage my money and places I can park my money, where do community-based FIs really fit? And we've been in this, community FIs have been in this race for a long time, for decades, in a race with the big banks and with the fintechs, where they've been behind. The big banks and the fintechs are investing so heavily, JP Morgan Chase with their 15 billion, so much investments being placed into this technology, and credit unions and community banks and community-based FIs are trying to tick all the check boxes they possibly can, as many as they possibly can. And when a fintech sends another checkbox to them, here's another thing you have to build to stay competitive online, community FIs make the mistake of saying, well, this is going to help us catch up. We're going to catch up. We tick these few more boxes, we're going to catch up. But their competition has already gotten there, and they're already on to the next thing. And so we keep running this race of let's build as many features as we possibly can. And we have to ask ourselves, why are we running this race? America's in crisis. What are we doing to solve it? Our missions are, as community-based FIs, are to uplifts our communities. And therein lies this really great opportunity for community FIs. They can be building solutions that help people understand their money better, that helps people develop better personal financial wellness. And they could be running an entirely different race. And so that's something that Beng Shui is highly focused on. We've been working for the past several years building out a comprehensive set of solutions, digital banking solutions in-house, you know, that includes mobile banking, online account opening, loan applications, statements and notices, conversational AI. Why did we build so many products? Because for two main reasons. One, we wanted to move the industry away from this Frankenstein-like model and create much more beautiful, seamless experiences, because people are, especially young people, are switching for better experiences. One, and two, because by building out a comprehensive, taking a holistic approach to developing these solutions, we can start layering on top value that will make a transformative difference in someone's lives. And we can do it much easier by building these products in-house, right? Mobile and online banking, they always get all the love they get from the third parties. But what about statements? What about notices? What about conversational AI? What about opportunities that exist within online account opening? There's so many opportunities to help someone begin to establish a goal, to help someone begin to figure out how they can save more money. We want to put people on a path towards realizing their dreams and becoming financially stable and fit. And that's the core mission that we're on.
It's you mentioned how people are struggling and there's that need for financial wellness. I saw a chart today on LinkedIn and it was I forget what the growth was. It actually was 20% growth in like Americans' debt over the last 4 years. And I'm curious, if that's really debt or that's related to the decreasing value of the dollar. So I went and looked at changes in the dollar. And in fact, over those last 4 years, there's been a 20% loss in purchasing power. So it's really a function of the dollar. But the problem comes in is that if you look at incomes during that same 4 year period, there's only been a 10% increase in income. So there's been a 10%, 20% increase in cost of goods, a 10% increase in income. So net, on average, Americans have lost 10% of their purchasing value. So there is a need for financial wellness. So I think you've got some unique solutions. The other thing is, I think most people have, I think it's like 3 to 5 banking relationships that they kind of pick and choose from for different solutions, right? And I think that's one of the things that you guys offer is a bit of a one-stop shop where, to your point, it's not just addressing mobile, but it's addressing statements, it's addressing conversational AI. So maybe you can talk a little bit about, because I think there's maybe some technology misalignment in that, FIs are relying on multiple vendors, kind of creating fragmented systems. Maybe you can talk about how BankJoy might be solving that.
Yeah, so this really ties back to the mission again, where our mission, and this is documented within our charter. I'm happy to share our charter with anyone who wants to learn more about the foundations of our company. But our mission is really to uplift communities in partnership with community FIs by providing tech that helps people understand their money better, helps them develop better personal financial wellness. It truly drives the roadmap we're on, and it has since the beginning. And we chose to partner with community FIs because it gives us scale, and we could put our app into more people's hands, and we really have a shot at truly making a difference. But in that partnership, we truly need those community FIs to really start to promote and talk about their competitive differentiation. If you go into a branch, you're going to get that experience. They're going to know you by your first name. They're going to sit down with you and help you plot out a way to achieve your goals. And the relationship dynamics are much different with community FIs than they are with a big bank or a fintech. And unfortunately, that just hasn't been translated well to digital. So there's no competitive differentiation there. And so what we've done is, we built out this ecosystem of products. We took a holistic approach and built out. We started with mobile and online banking. We quickly added online account opening and loan applications, and then statements and notices and the AI as well. And what we the best analogy that I can give here about where we're headed next is to ambitiously compare us to Apple ambitious to compare our strategy to what Apple's done. If you think about Apple, Apple's done something really, really great, right? They built out these individual products, the MacBook, the iPad, iPhone, Watch, Apple TV, and they built out these products. Each one individually is a great product in its own right. It's a beautiful product. They're setting the trend for every other hardware maker out there, and you look at all the other hardware out there, and you're starting to see, they're starting to look just like Apple, right? And but what's really great about what they've done on top of this ecosystem of products is that they've layered on top value. There's obvious value such as productivity. We do spreadsheets and documents. There's entertainment, there's music and movies. But what's really interesting about what they did, and they took a very different approach than anyone else here, is they layered on top a layer of value for fitness, helping people get in shape, helping them become financially fit, helping them develop habits that will keep them fit. And so you could be running in front of your Apple TV, watching an Apple Fitness Plus program on your Apple TV, wearing an Apple Watch that's measuring your heart rate and tracking your progress across all your Apple devices and ensuring that you're closing your rings, that you're standing up at certain intervals, that you're moving enough. And all of a sudden, you've got a hardware maker who's basically creating a transformative difference in your life. You're becoming healthy because of a hardware company, because of Apple. And that's hugely transformative and very valuable. And our take is, well, if you have a digital banking ecosystem products and you're looking for that competitive differentiation and you want to uplift your communities, what happens when you layer on top financial fitness on top of your digital banking ecosystem products? What kind of transformative difference can we make in people's lives if we did that? And so we've now that we're at this point, we built out this ecosystem. We just got back from Napa where we had our conference and we unveiled to our client base, our financial fitness initiative, where we're rolling out financial fitness features across our entire ecosystem. And these features they're powered by AI. They're designed to help people understand exactly where they are financially. Everyone's in a slightly different scenario, right? And so what we do is we leverage AI to take all this data that we have across our client base, to take the data that we have from people who are adding external accounts. Within our system, you can add your Bank of America, your Wells Fargo, and you can get a 360-degree view of your finances within our platform. And what we do with this is, we can create these segments based on financial behaviors using this data and create leveraging a predictive model, begin to advise on, we think you could save this much money per month. We think you could save a little bit more this month than you did last month. It looks like you may be spending a little bit more than you ought to, via an alert. And all of a sudden we could start to really transform someone's behaviors and put them into a really good position where maybe they could start saving for a car. They could start saving for a house they've been dreaming of. And that sounds like we're running a different race, right? It sounds like we're running a different race than the big banks and the fintechs. And this is the competitive differentiation that we think is really going to put community-based FIs in a place where they're successful. Without this, ask the average person on the street, what's the difference between a community bank, XYZ community bank, and ABC Credit Union versus a Wells Fargo or Capital One? Ask the average person, they're going to say, oh, one FI has more ATMs than the other. One FI has more branches than the other. One has a higher yield on a deposit account than the other. And these are all very superficial sorts of competitive differentiations that don't really make a difference. And people will easily switch from one to another for either a better experience or a higher yield. And this unfortunately keeps community-based FIs off that list you mentioned in the App Store.
Yeah, and it's one of those things I always kind of am surprised that financial institutions, community banks, and credit unions aren't playing up more the level of trust, right? Because that's one place they have an advantage over the fintechs, and I think that natural trust that we have with our financial institutions fits nicely with advice around, particularly around financial wellness. So I think you strengthen that and you strengthen that competitive advantage. So you talked about kind of the comprehensive digital suite, and some specific targeting for those users. I think that's different than what you and I had talked the other day about sub-brand strategy, something new you were pretty excited about. Can you maybe talk a little bit about what that is for the guests on the call?
Yeah, so we have an initiative. We're calling it sub-brands at the moment, and sub-brands are a way. It's a strategy to, as FIs increase their field of membership and increase their potential target market with their core brand. What happens is we start to lose touch with some of the more niche target markets that exist within our communities. And sub-brands are a way to launch entirely or spin out entirely new brands that are highly targeted at certain niche target markets. So, for example, if you want to target certain ethnic groups or you want to target university students or faculty, if you want to target a certain generational demographic, you want to target more Generation Z to offset an aging membership or customer base, these sub-brands are designed to help you quickly deploy an entirely new set of digital banking products with a new brand, with new messaging that's highly targeted at that particular segment to help drive deposit growth back into the core brand. And so within our own client base, for instance, we're seeing sub-brands being created for targeting small businesses, for FIs that may have traditionally targeted corporate or enterprise level businesses. They want to go after small businesses within their communities as well and give them a very competitive offering. So they're creating a new brand because the core brand is highly associated with larger businesses, and small businesses don't realize, oh, I can do banking with them too. So spinning off new sub brands to help with that perception. In our client base, we have a FI that's targeting a couple of FIs targeting green that have green sub brands. So we have one that's targeting folks who want to get loan products for, they want to buy a Tesla or they want to buy an energy efficient refrigerator. And so this is really designed to, folks who are thinking about and prioritizing green. This brand is really highly targeted at those kinds of people. We have another one that's targeting businesses on the solar side. So folks who are building solar products, we have a credit union that spun out a sub-brand specifically to target them with a specific marketing, new website, new logo, new brand, and our entire digital banking ecosystem launched for them to help them be more successful within that niche. Lots of conversations around sub-brands. We literally just began to have these conversations Q1, and already we have a number of sub-brands that are being launched. And so we're quite optimistic this is going to help FI solve one of the biggest problems that we're all facing right now, which is deposit growth and awareness.
Do you have a marketing agency, or are you using partners for the marketing of those sub brands?
Yeah, we're getting ready to announce. I can't say what it is just yet. But we're getting ready to announce a key partnership with a marketing firm. They're a top tier marketing firm that serves community-based FIs, and they've done an amazing job helping with rebrand projects and developing playbooks and marketing strategies to help drive growth. And so we're going to leverage all of that goodness and create help create with these sub brands playbooks that will help them go to market and be successful. The challenge here is, we can spin up our technology very quickly. We can launch a new sub brand extremely quickly. We can leverage the existing core system that's in place and get your systems up and running, within a few weeks or less. And this is not the challenge, right? Because we own the entire ecosystem. We can, apply the logo, the branding, the color schemes, background images, all those things can be launched very, very quickly. The challenge is really, you can't just launch it. It's not Field of Dreams. You can't just launch it and expect people to come and leverage your new sub brand. That's why we're part of the marketing firms. This is a very different kind of challenge that I think most FIs are used to, where you need to build something from the ground up. It's like starting a new company. You have to build something from the ground up, and you have to know very clearly who that target market is, because it's very easy to say, oh, Generation Z, but there's so many different variations of this, and you have to know very, very clearly who you're targeting, where those people are, and then you need to figure out what channels you want to go and target them at, and what the messaging is that you're going to use to go target through those channels. And so this marketing agency we're working with is going to help create the playbook for you. And if you like, they can also help with the execution, with the LinkedIn posts and Facebook posts, Instagram posts, whatever the strategy ends up being. They can help you execute it. But the primary reason we're partnering with them is to create the actual playbook, so you know what you need to do, and then you can do that internally with your own marketing research, with your own marketing resources, or find another partner to execute the strategy on. But that's such a key part to actually growing adoption. We want these sub brands to grow faster than the core brand, right? So that's why we're applying this this strategy here.
Are there any limitations to like the existing technology? So you've got a financial institution's got its core, and there's various core providers out there. Do you work with most of those core providers? Like, how do you? Maybe you can talk about the integration effort, and then maybe you can also talk about if you were going to do a sub brand, what that implementation plan or the steps for implementation might look like.
Yeah, so core systems, we don't shy away from any core system. We have 15 core systems we've integrated with to date. Some of the fastest growing cores, some of the biggest cores, and also some of the smallest ones as well. So we don't shy away from core system integrations. We're experts at integrating with cores. It takes us about 6 weeks or so with one developer to integrate with the new core system. It's because of the way that our infrastructure is built out. It allows us to integrate very rapidly, and we don't need to change any of the code across the ecosystem of products or across the API layer that those products sit on top of. We simply swap out a microservice and we do some integration work into the core system. It just allows us to move very rapidly. So as long as that core has an API of some sort, and it could be legacy, it could be dated, we'll integrate to it. If it's on an existing core we've already integrated to, you can subtract that 6 weeks of development time from the project kickoff. And so it's a pretty rapid deployment. That's really the long pole in the tent, is the core system. And it's not that long given our technology posture. We're launching sub brands in weeks here for some of our clients here. I think the longest pole in the tent is really just the marketing strategy, to be honest. For existing clients who are on cores we already support.
What if you can maybe talk a little bit too about your leveraging of data? Do you deliver a similar experience across different channels? So do you have an omni-channel, approach? What's your approach to leveraging an institution's data?
Yeah, so one of the benefits of building out all these products that we have on top of one platform is that we can ensure that all the data that we're ingesting, wherever it's coming from, we have real-time integrations to the core. We have data coming in from external FI. So if you want to plug in your Wells Fargo and your Bank of America, those show up natively within our solution. They're not siloed off in a separate tab. They're on your dashboard side by side with the other accounts, and can drag and drop and reorder things and group them together just like you can with your native accounts. We take this data. If you are clicking into or tapping into your Bank of America checking account, you'll see all your transactions there. Same for your existing native accounts with the FI. And then if you want to move money between these accounts, they'll show up within your transfer menus as well. So if I want to wire, or if I want to do a PDP transfer, or I want to transfer between two accounts I have, it's very simple within our transfer menu. There's not separate tabs for A2A and P2P. Everything exists inside of one really simple transfer menu. That's true for mobile and online banking. But we're not just a mobile and online banking vendor. We have these other components. So we have statements and notices, where the great thing about building all these products up from the ground up is that within statements and notices, for instance, within statements, you're reading your statement. Oftentimes, if you're working with different vendors, the way the transactions are spelled out, the way that the transaction descriptions are built can be different than the way the transaction descriptions are built within your mobile and online banking. And so there's much more consistency within our platform because we're controlling how that data is presented. And so presentation of data, there's more consistency there as well. Within conversational AI, we built conversational AI in 2016. This is before everyone knew anything about LLMs and before OpenAI, and this is when I was being advised by Sam Altman before he built OpenAI because he was president of Y Combinator, and we went through YC when he was president, and um, we built the solution. We leveraged Alexa at the time, and the goal wasn't actually to build a conversational experience. It was to demonstrate the power of our API, the depth and the breadth of the API that we built. Having built out these different point solutions on one platform, we ended up building a really powerful API. And so we went on stage at Finovate to demonstrate the conversational experience we built with Alexa. That was just a showcase for the power of the API. We demonstrated it. It was the first time anyone in the audience, had seen, a conversational banking experience. And when we got back to our booth, the line must have been 45 minutes deep, and it had some extremely notable folks. I had some of the biggest banks in the world in line waiting to talk to us, not about the API, but about the conversational experience that we built out. And that's when we realized, wow, there's something to this. This is interesting. And I think in the process of building that, we also realized that conversational AI can actually simplify a lot of the sort of the usual interactions we have with our banking and our data. And so even through our conversational experience now, which we call Joy, when you ask about data, you're getting the same kinds of results back. You have the same capabilities you might have and use within mobile and online banking. It's just another benefit to working with a more holistically designed system, that there aren't gaps across these features and products. There's much more uniformity, and that was our intent there.
So you're gonna have to get Sam. You're gonna have to get Sam to agree to come on on my webcast. Yeah, that would be wild. One of the things I was really impressed with was it sounds like you guys do an awful lot of investment in research and development, right? And you and I were talking. I was surprised at how many kind of R&D staff you had, and we were talking a little bit about the location of them and why they're located where they are, and then how you really look to attract the best people. You're not looking for the cheapest developers, and maybe you can talk a little bit about kind of that strategy, because I think that sets you apart from what I've seen some other firms do in terms of their approach to developing new products and services.
Yeah. Thanks for recognizing that, Larry. We worked really hard to build a great team. We fundamentally believe that great people is a great strategy for developing great things. And so we actually raised our Series A funding in 2020 during the pandemic. Bessemer Venture Partners led the round, and we went through the entire all the motions of getting that round closed remotely over Zoom. Never once shook Brian Feinstein's hand, who was the partner who led the transaction before they wired the Series A capital over to us. And as a result, the goal of raising that capital was to build the team. And to build the team, we were 6 people back then, and we were 6 people. We built a lot. And we were all engineers, and that's my background. I'm an engineer. I was coding. I was developing things as well, and we were reaching a scale where we absolutely had to get more people on board to make sure that we were, one of our goals is to make our clients raving fans, and we want our clients telling other banks and credit unions that BankJoy is amazing. And so we knew we had to add some more people to the team. And it's probably my fault that leans heavily towards R&D, because that's my background, and we've got a chip on our shoulder here at BankJoy. We want to build the best tech, the best software, the best products, and that's also been kind of an underlying current of leading to why we built so much here under one roof. And so we ended up deciding, well, everyone's working at home anyway as a result of the pandemic. Let's turn this into a strength. Let's turn this into a competitive advantage for ourselves and find the very best people we possibly could wherever they were, right? So we have folks from coast to coast. We have folks in California. We have folks in Georgia, and everywhere in between. And we've also began to spread out. We have folks in Argentina now. We have a team we built in Argentina as well. Some amazing engineers we've hired from that directly through in that country. And then also we've expanded to Canada as well. So we're literally, we're going all in into remote first and remote work. Now that we've figured out how to build a good culture and we figured out how to hire remotely, realize it's a superpower of ours that we don't need to limit our search to just one region and one place. We can find the very best people wherever we can. So by spreading our net out wide, we get some amazing candidates coming in, so we built, I believe a great executive team. We built a great R&D staff, and, we have a sizable portion of our budget that is being poured into R&D. And you can't build everything we built by not doing that, right? And we keep doubling down, we keep adding more resources to that team. And just go look at our job site and see how many product engineering folks we're hiring right now. We continue to build that team because we have a long vision, right? Our mission is to uplift communities, and our mission is to, put tools in people's hands that's going to make a transformative difference in their lives in partnership with our community-based FIs. And we have a long roadmap. We have that to get there, and we're not slowing down. We're speeding up to get there. And this ultimately is our moat, right? We built out this ecosystem. It's sort of a moat, that we can actually lay on top, real transformative value on top of that. And we just can't wait to get there. So we keep growing that team.
If so for those that aren't aware, you and I went out for drinks with Shaw Taylor, who's your marketing partnerships SVP, and if he and you are any indication of the people you hire or at the company, I've been real impressed. There's a great picture on LinkedIn of the three of us, and it was a funny comment when I came home and I showed my kids a picture, and they were like, and this was at Nashville, right? And they said, "Oh, you partying with Darius Ruckus, right?" And I'm like, "The country singer?" And like, no, that's not who it was. And I looked him up afterwards, and he's a good-looking guy. He did look a lot like you. I gave the kids a pass because we were in Nashville, so I assume they figured you were a country singer. But really loved the conversation we had, and I'm glad we were able to share some of that today. I do want to open, so we got about 15 minutes left. I wanted to open it up to the people on the call. I know Jeff Ossheimer, who's heads up kind of our fintech relationships here at SRM, and he's a core expert. He had a question in the chat and said, will the core need to be optimized to support sub-brands, or do you suggest the FI add the new brand as a branch, quote branch? What do you see as the best practice to support this from a core perspective?
Yeah, that's a great question. Yeah, good job recognizing that something needs to be done to kind of delineate these brands from each other, right? And so, for reporting purposes, for instance, and so we're finding creative ways to do that across each of the cores we're working with, right? So, for instance, launching a sub brand on Portico, we found a way to do that, and I can't speak the specifics, right? But we did find a way in Portico. We found a way in correlation, for instance. And so and each of these approaches are slightly different, right? But they give the FI a way to delineate them, to report on them, and to know which FI that member or customer belongs to. On our side, on our admin, it's as simple as dropping down. You can, from a drop down, you can choose which FI you want to look at, and then you'll immediately start to see the reports and the data and the controls for one FI versus another.
Appreciate that answer. Hopefully, Jeff, that addressed your question. Let's see if there are any other questions, and feel free, you can put it in the chat or just unmute and ask Mike the question yourself. Geez, you must have done a great job presenting if there aren't any questions. While we're waiting to see if there are any additional questions, one of the things I'll reiterate, SRM is very partner vendor agnostic, and we're giving you a good chance to kind of talk about your service. There's lots of digital banking providers out there, but I was real impressed with at least our conversation. And we were familiar with you. I thought it'd be a good chance for you to kind of talk a little bit about, again, your background and how you got into this and why you're doing what you're doing at BankJoy. If people want to, either get a demo or reach out to you, contact you, what's the best way to do that? I mean, I can obviously put your email in the chat, but they reach out to you, they reach out to Shaw. What's the best way to? You're at a lot of different conferences, I would assume. What's the best way for folks to reach out to you if they're interested in exploring a little bit more about what your solution is?
Yeah, I love to field those myself. If you want to email me directly, it's mike@bankjoy.com. And then our website is at bankjoy.com. My email is not too hard to remember, but yeah, feel free to reach out directly to me. Connect with me on LinkedIn, please. And I love to hear your stories. I love to hear your challenges. That's how we started. We started back in 2015, reaching out to a lot of credit unions and banks and showcasing our, what we had designed and built. And we had a lot of great feedback, and that's part of our culture. So love to hear about the challenges and the goals and dreams you guys have as well, and how we can help you.
And I did put your email in the chat. I've also just put your website. Let me see. Someone else might have had another question.
This is Jim. Hi.
Oh, hey, Jim.
Yeah, just raised my hand there. I was just wondering if you're very successful, let's say, in sort of multiple institutions in the same area or region end up using BankJoy, and then in fact we're targeting similar groups. How much kind of differentiation could there? Yeah, I'm sure there's some, right? Or would it be an extremely similar experience when you get down to the AI and the messaging, et cetera?
Yeah, so our client base is really spread out across the country, and also it's a diverse client base. It's becoming more and more diverse. We just signed another neobank yesterday, so we got neobanks, we have credit unions, we have community banks, and there's a lot of similarities, but there's also quite a few differences. And so when we take a new engagement, we take a new clients. Our goal is to make sure that we're offering some differentiation for them. We have, for example, a neobank that serves doctors and healthcare professionals, and arguably one of our fastest growing institutions. And they've got their own developers, and they're building stuff. We're working together, and they're building stuff on top of our API. And there's differentiation that you're going to see that Panacea has that other FIs don't have. And so we're more than willing to work with you and be flexible and identify kind of a feature set that will help you be differentiated. We also do think that there's a lot of value in the targeted marketing strategy and the messaging that goes along with that as well. Marketing is a huge component to just creating awareness, and we've got a great partner for that we'll be announcing soon. Hope that helps.
Thank you.
There's another question came in from Catalina. She was asking, she might put you on the spot here. Are you for or against digital asset integration with traditional banking? Does he see demand from the financial industry and neobanks? So I'll let you answer that one. I've got a personal opinion on that, but I think Catalina already knows my opinion on it.
I know your opinion, Larry. Look, I love tech. All right, I've been coding since I was a kid, and I love the advancement in the digital asset space. I love digital assets evolving and becoming currency and becoming more than just something we invest in, but something that we can use. I love the evolution of finance, and for us, we sort of decouple ourselves from, as a digital banking platform, decouple ourselves from the monetary instrument, and really more focused on how can we get people financially fit and well, and help them make investments, help them manage their money better. And we're more than happy to work with and integrate digital asset solutions into our platform.
Great answer. I do have a question. So you said 70 clients. What's the rough breakdown between, say, banks and credit unions? And you said you service some fintechs as well. Mm-hmm. What's that breakdown look like roughly?
Yeah, so when we started, because I came from a credit union, we largely went after credit unions. Our first distribution partner was Correlation, and Correlation was growing so fast that we ended up getting a number of credit unions on the platform, and sort of cemented our reputation that way. And so we have an overwhelming number of credit unions on the platform. However, as of last year, we really started to target community banks as well. So we've added community banks to the mix. And last year, something that was really interesting, when you look at the deals we closed last year, it was almost evenly distributed between banks and credit unions. And so we got a lot of experience working with banks. We have banks go live last year. We have banks going live this year, and we love working with banks too. We don't. We know that sometimes credit unions don't like community banks and vice versa, but we ultimately believe that there's a shared kind of core ethos and a shared values. And our mission aligns with both kinds of community-based FIs. That said, we didn't intentionally begin to go after neobanks. Neobanks began to come into our pipeline, and when you think about it, we're a great fit for neobanks because we're a full holistic end-to-end solution where we've worked really hard to design a beautiful experience, and that's one of the kind of core values of neobanks, to deliver a good UX, good UI, and we're feature rich, right, across the platform, and so. Our API also serves as a really powerful middleware itself. So you don't need to go find an additional middleware service, so you could save money, and you can spin up an entire end-to-end solution in a very short period of time. All we need is a core to plug into. And so neobanks began to realize this, and so we've been signing neobanks as of last year as well. So our client base is becoming more and more diverse. We also have de novo banks who are coming to us as well. And we're attracted to de novo banks for the very same reason: less vendors to manage, better overall experience from end to end. We move fast. So,
Mike, there's another question from Jeff. He asked, how many monthly active users do you support across the platform, including non-banks?
Yeah, that's a great question. Because of the way we price our software and the metrics we keep, I can't answer that offhand. But I can say that we have roughly 1 million folks on the platform who are using the software across all of our FIs, and that number obviously continues to grow.
Awesome. All right, so we've got about 5 minutes left. We can certainly wrap it up, but I want to, these were really great questions. I want to give folks another chance if there's anyone that's got a burning question to ask that. And then if not, Mike, is there anything that we didn't talk about or I didn't ask you that you want to talk about?
No, I really enjoyed this conversation, Larry. I'm so glad we were able to meet unplanned in Nashville, and I got to know you a little bit better. And thanks so much for having me on the podcast. Thank you.
You are most welcome. And Mike, really appreciate you coming on, sharing a little bit about your background and the product. And Toshaw, again, appreciated his company as well the other day. So I wish you best of luck. And for anyone that has any follow-up questions, feel free to email me or reach out to Mike directly. Be happy to get you guys connected.
Thank you.
All right. With that, I want to thank everyone for their time and have a lovely rest of your day. Thanks again, Mike.
Bye, guys.